Hello, welcome back to A Course in Miracles. I'm Tomas Garza, and thank you all for tuning in wherever you have gotten this link from to my YouTube channel, or whether you've been watching on Enlightened World Network's YouTube channel. There are a couple different places for this content, and I welcome you. If you're just catching today's video, and this is the first that you've seen, what's going on here is throughout this calendar year, this is 2021 here, still, today's December 4th, in fact. What I've been doing is I've been recording a series of videos that began on Enlightened World Network as a live stream earlier this year, in fact, in January. So all year I've been going through the workbook for students of A Course in Miracles. And I have also shot, recorded, and published a number of supplementary videos about A Course in Miracles. So if this is something that you're curious about and you're considering studying this, practicing this material, and putting it into practice, daily application in your life, I invite you to do that. And I invite you to check out some of the more, the earliest videos, actually, from this segment, which dates all the way back to January of this year. There's quite a lot of content in there. And if the workbook for students is something that has appeal to you, I would obviously and absolutely say start from the start. I mean, feel welcome to watch this video too, or any of them. But if you're going to go through the process, it's one lesson at a time, starting with lesson one. Why they're cumulative, they build on one another in the construction and the implementation, and more importantly, the practical day-to-day, moment-to-moment application of a thought system. So you won't get the full benefit by looking at the video for lesson 49, for example, and then skipping ahead to 213, and then back to 130, and so on and so forth. I mean, yeah, they all register as views on YouTube, but really that's not the point. The point is your own personal walk. It's your leaving ego clinging to the side. It's your awakening. So that's my invitation to all of you that are new to this material and you're curious about it. And for those that have been following along, thank you for that. We're on lesson 217 today, in the midst of the review period that has as the theme, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Yeah, deeply resonant, deeply powerful. This is one of the sayings, one of the phrases. It's one of the most powerful, resonant components to me of the entire workbook. And not just because it's relatively easy to commit to memory because of the rhyming, which of course is deliberate. It's the message and the constant reinforcement of that message. That's what's very, very powerful here. So in practicing lesson 217 and any item, any lesson, right, in this review period, we spend some time with this. It's repeated 20 days in a row because we need to hear it. Pure and simple, right? I love this about the message of Jesus here. I love this about the message of the Holy Spirit here, because they don't fuck around. I mean, you know, really, really, if you're feeling like you're past all of the sugar-coated fluff that's out there, then perhaps A Course in Miracles is for you, right? Because it cuts right to the chase. It's, in reality, this is very, very profound metaphysics. It is. It's, well, there are no levels, but we would consider it high level metaphysics, very deep, very profound, cutting right to the chase, cutting the bullshit, cutting out the fluff, and getting right to the heart of the matter, which is our reality as one with God. Not a body, of course, right? God's not a human being. God's not a man. God's not a woman. God is not a human being. So naturally, identifying with the body and the ego, we depict God as this bearded figure in a white robe, a man seated on high, hurling thunderbolts, chastising all of us if he wants to, loving whom he will, right? And or you may picture God as female, as a woman, but God is not a human being. It's part of the point here, right? Our reality is spirit. If you're watching this, I know that you know this. You truly do. Now, have you accepted it? Well, that's another story, right? It is. It's another story because we don't always accept what we know in our hearts. It can take time. And here in A Course in Miracles, it's said in multiple places, that's the purpose of time, is for us to awaken. And for most of us, that is a gradual awakening process. So let's delve into the review idea here in lesson 217. It's a review of lesson 197. It can be but my gratitude I earn. Okay. It can be but my gratitude I earn. So when I forgive, who gives thanks? Right? This is a continuation of the idea that we saw in the last video, and we'll be on this theme for a few days here. And that is the idea that there's no one out there. There's no one out there. What's meant by that is that everything that we see apparently outside of ourselves is simply a reflection of what's going on inside ourselves. When we see people behaving in a way that we would consider badly or harmfully, it's an opportunity for forgiveness. It's symbolic of our own harmful thoughts. It's symbolic of our own harmful behavior. When we see someone acting lovingly, that's symbolic of our own loving acts. It's symbolic of our own extension of love. It's symbolic of our own joy. It's symbolic of our abundance as spirit, as Christ. And by as Christ, I mean the thought of God, God's creation, which is not a body. Not a body. Who should give thanks for our salvation but ourselves, right? I mean, really, who but ourselves? This makes sense, doesn't it? If everything that we're doing for or to ourselves, if there's no one out there, who gives thanks for our extension of love? We do. It's our own gratitude that we earn. When you extend love, when you leave the ego behind, your self, capital S, extends gratitude. It can be but our own gratitude that we earn. So let's say a few more words here about this idea that there's no one out there. Depending on your own spiritual practice, depending on the spiritual tradition or traditions that you follow, and depending on who your guide is or your guides are, right? It could be a whole team of guides. It doesn't matter who or what that looks like for you. Some spiritual traditions depict our experience here in the world as something like a movie, and our mind is the movie projector. Or it's depicted in some traditions as a tunnel with moving pictures through which we move, and it's choose your own adventure. There's everything there. It's a script that's already been written. That's something that has appeared in A Course in Miracles and appears in ACIM here, is that there's a script. We have choice right here in the present moment. So it's kind of choose your own adventure. If you choose love, a certain picture appears. And what happens is we also play the role of film editor, which is kind of nice. Yeah, we do, because it's our higher self that does. It's the Holy Spirit, who's part of us, that eliminates time, eliminates scenes. What I mean by that is, if you forgive a situation or a person, a group of people, doing that in the present moment, in fact, allows the Holy Spirit, Jesus, to shorten time for you. Meaning there are scenes in the script, lessons that you are to learn that will no longer become necessary, experiences down the line that you are not going to have now, and that could be painful, right? Because you've chosen forgiveness in the present moment. You've sometimes radically shortened the amount of time it takes until you are fully awakened. And we're running the show. We are the answer, right? We have free will in the present moment to choose love. We have free will to extend love. We have free will to reach for our light. It's up to us to exercise that, because the choice, the only choice that we have, is between God and the ego, or if you prefer, love and fear, life and death, really. In fact, those are the choices that we have, and it's one choice. Every other apparent choice is a derivative of that. Love or fear, God or the ego. Which thought system you cherish is the one that you'll experience. At the present moment, the only moment that exists is an opportunity for us to choose. If we've chosen the ego, which we have repeatedly, the present moment provides a perfect opportunity, a gift, it is a gift, to choose the thought system of the Holy Spirit, to choose love, to choose God. That's the opportunity that we have in the present moment. And I cannot think of a more profound gift. And it truly can be but our own gratitude that we earn when we extend forgiveness, when we choose love. So in the next few videos here, we're going to continue with the thread here of this review period, which is I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. One of, to me, and to many people indeed, one of the most resonant passages of A Course in Miracles. There are 3 review lessons left following today's, and then we'll be in a completely different section of the workbook, moving on with the conventional theme of 1 lesson at a day. And we have more to say about this in the next couple of days. There'll be more to discuss in terms of the idea that there's no one out there. So it's possibly confusing to the ego. That makes total sense that it would be, because the ego wants to have us believe that there are 8 billion human beings out there having separate experiences. It's not the case. It's not the case. And if you're hearing this for the first time and you're still interested, well, thank you. I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. Yeah, I invite you to go back and peruse this YouTube channel and go back and take a look. I invite you and encourage you to look at some of the more general lessons. And they're all, everything that is a workbook lesson is labeled in the title of the video, workbook lesson, et cetera, et cetera. You'll find a number of supplementary videos as well, which are well worth your time and effort if you're considering becoming a student of A Course in Miracles. Feel welcome also, by the way, to ask me any questions that you might have. I'm highly accessible on Facebook Messenger, Tomas Garza. You can certainly leave a comment on the YouTube channel. Let me know how best to get a hold of you. And I'm more than happy to have a dialogue with you about this extraordinary curriculum. It has, I mean, to say it's changed my life is probably the understatement of this lifetime for me. So very profound.